budgeting. You'd think, being someone completely, I suppose, invested in Pokemon investing, that I would have spreadsheets galore, budgeting would be my main focus, I'd be writing everything down. And you know what? I used to do that. I did. I used to write down what I wanted to buy, budgeted for it, had spreadsheets showing what my purchase price was, what my potential gains were, what I expected to get in a certain time frame, and then all of a sudden I just stopped. That's not the case for me anymore. So in today's video, I'm going to show you why I've stopped and what you can maybe do to replace that. I'm Michael, this is PokeOz. Everyone, welcome back to the channel. I feel like we're maybe gaining a little bit of momentum here, which is great. Subscribers are ticking up. It seems the views seem to be going pretty well. So if you haven't subscribed, we're not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to keep producing some Pokemon, mainly investing videos. So if you like the content, please like, comment, subscribe. I love having a chat to you guys. But moving along with the video, why? Why have I stopped all that? I'll tell you why. There's a few reasons. This word budget, first of all, seems to just get thrown around everywhere. You know, particularly when it comes to investing, budget this, budget that, budget, budget, budget. Every federal government in the world, budget, budget. This is what we've got to allow for. And it sort of almost gets thrown around and used too much. And the first reason why I've given up budgeting when it comes to Pokemon cards and Pokemon investing is because I feel like it sort of just fails for the most part. And by that, I mean, it's a bit like fad diets, or in some cases, going to the gym and trying to stick to a routine. Like, a lot of the times, it just becomes a bit too hard and it just becomes a bit too stressful. And ultimately, it just fails and leaves you a little bit disheartened. And okay, let's relate it to the Pokemon investing world, right? So budgeting I almost see as two components. The first component is, this is the amount of money I'm saving up for, or this is the amount of money I'm setting aside from my pay each week, and this is what I want to spend on Pokemon investment products, either singles or sealed products. And the other side of the budgeting is like, you know, you budget for some sort of result. So whether it's a 20% gain in a year, or a 30% gain in 2.5 years, or 100% gain in 3 years, whatever the budget might be, there's sort of two parts to it. And I guess it can end up just failing, like particularly the result side. Sometimes we can get so hyper-focused on the results that we just end up losing the purpose when it comes to Pokemon investing, which is ultimately enjoying it, which I'll get to in another point. But, you know, budgeting fails, and it's just like a diet, and it can so quickly demoralize you. Like, I saw this stat the other day that said about 60% of people, this is in the overall financials, not just Pokemon investing, but about 60% of people create some sort of budget, okay? It's like, we've got to dedicate $200 a week to the weekly shopping. We've got to have, $150 a week set aside for bills, and yada, yada, yada. I don't need to explain what a budget is. I'm not insulting anyone's intelligence. But only about 60% of people have a budget. And of those people, only about 40% remain successful in their budget. And I saw this other stat recently, which astounded me, with something like, and I can't remember exactly, so I don't want to misquote it, but it was something like only, 40% of all Australians have as little as $500 in their bank account. So what it says as a whole is, we're not that great at budgeting. And sometimes we just live in the moment. Like, maybe you've had a stressful week and you just want to go out and have some drinks with friends and unwind, or, maybe you've just saved and you've stuck to your budget so religiously, and all of a sudden something goes wrong with the gearbox in your car and it's $1,200 to get it fixed, and you're just like, oh, far out, what's the point of even budgeting? So, but anyway, my point is, quite often budgeting fails, and it can very quickly fail and demoralize you in the Pokemon investing space. Let's bring up a quick Pokemon example, right? And this one got me a little bit, because, and it's this cheeky boy right here on this Vivid Voltage Elite Trainer box. When this came out, I thought, home run, right? Home run because, A, at the time, it was the best Sword and Shield set so far to date. It didn't have great competition. Maybe it was the best of a bad bunch. It was up against Darkness Ablaze, Rebel Clash, and Sword and Shield Base, which had little to nothing except maybe the Charizard Chase card in Darkness Ablaze. But anyway, it was the best so far of a bad bunch in Sword and Shield. It introduced amazing rares. It had this, hence the name, vivid artwork to it. It was colourful, it was vibrant. It came out during a time when supply was hard to get hold of during the pandemic. And it had a rainbow Pikachu chase card. I just thought, what a set. And then I thought, look at the ETB. It's the first ETB to have Pikachu on it. And same thing, it's vibrant, it's vivid, it's colourful, and it's got Pikachu on it. What an investment. So I stocked up on heaps, and they're probably the same price that I paid for them, if not maybe a touch under what I paid for them 3 years later. So I budgeted for that ETB in 3 years' time to double in price. I thought it would quite comfortably. And you know what? I was wrong. Did it demoralise me? Oh, yeah, a little bit. Come on, we've got thicker skin than letting a Pikachu ETB worry us too much. But you get my point. It can demoralise you quickly. Now, the second point when it comes to budgeting, particularly Pokemon, this is a trap I fell into early on, is it can force purchases. And what I mean by that is, okay, let's say you set aside a budget, and in your budget for the week, we're this much on the mortgage, this much to groceries, this much to bills, this much for entertainment, and this much left over to spend on Pokemon cards, whether it's $50 a week or $100 a week or $200 a week, or maybe you'd load it and it's $1,000 a week. Whatever it might be, you go, okay, I've got to go spend my $200 on Pokemon cards. And it can force purchases. So it makes you think you have to spend something every week. And that's not a good idea, because you should be buying something when the timing's right. You shouldn't be buying something just because you've budgeted to buy something. And I know that sounds a bit blasé and makes perfect sense, but I fell into that trap. I was like, oh, geez, well, I haven't bought myself out of this week's pay a Pokemon product, so I sort of want to get myself something, because, the more I get, the more it's going to go up in value. And you fall into this trap of buying stuff that maybe isn't the best purchase and therefore won't bring about the best return, and you end up just stuffing it up and sitting on something for 3 years that's made little to no money. So I guess if you're setting some money aside for Pokemon cards each week, don't feel you have to spend it each week. Wait for the timing to be right. Don't buy the booster box at launch. Buy it when you can't know, but when you think it's at its lowest. The third thing I think budgeting does, and the reason I've stopped doing it, is it hurts enjoyment. Like, you can end up just focusing too much on the numbers and the gains and the spreadsheets that you actually forget about enjoying the hobby. You forget about thinking, how cool can I make my display? You forget about thinking about what singles I can pick up this week for my binder collection. And you just end up focusing on the gains. And a clear example of that, and this is what reminds me of, probably everyone, for the most part, has played some sort of competitive sport in their life, whether it's at primary school, at high school, during college, in your later life, still now. I'm not getting too old for it. I still play a lot of competitive golf, but the point is, every time I've played a competitive sport, the moment it gets too competitive and we get, from maybe a coaching perspective or a player perspective, so hyper-focused on the results that you just forget to enjoy the sport. And that's what happened to me with golf. I started to get, probably about 10 years ago, half handy at it. Like, I got my handicap down to about 3. If anyone plays golf, it's not too bad, but it's still a long way from being anything decent at it. But got my handicap down to 3, and you know what? The lower my handicap got, the less I enjoyed the sport, because I was just so hyper-focused on the result, the mechanics, that I forgot to go out there, just have fun with my mates and play golf. And now that's what I do. I don't care anymore. If I shoot 70, great. If I shoot 85, not so great, but who cares? I don't know, you get my point. Same with basketball. I used to play a lot of basketball through high school and college, and the moment you start getting better at it and get to better levels, it's so focused on the result and the mechanics that you lose the enjoyment of the sport. And that's exactly what can happen in the Pokemon hobby. The more you focus on the numbers and the budget and the gains you'll get, the less you can enjoy it. It's not a race anyway. Just sit down, enjoy it, chill out. It'll go up. Except Vivid Voltage Elite Trainer boxes, clearly. Anyway, the fourth thing, there's also apps for it now. And I'm going to plug one, not because I get anything from it. Maybe I should, because this, I think, is the third time I plug this on the channel. So Collector app, if you're listening, give me some money. No, just joking. The Collector, something like the Collector app, right? We can just log everything into there, all your singles, all your sealed products, and it follows the market for us. Like, we don't need to do anything. We don't need to type things into an Excel spreadsheet and waste our time. Look, if you enjoy doing that, Excel spreadsheets, because look, I used to love it. Us nerds love it. So if you still enjoy it, do it by all means. But literally, the Collector app, it does it all for us. It tracks it daily or probably hourly. I don't know. I don't look at it that often, but it probably does. You can enter your product in, track it, done. It shows you the trend. It shows you your entire collection. You can go into each product that you've individually got in there. You can choose multiples. You can enter the purchase price. Then it'll show its current market price. It shows gains, losses, everything else in between. So we've got something there that already does it all for us. Now, the fifth and final point I want to make when it comes to why I've stopped budgeting is this. Money is important and Pokemon is not really. What I mean by that is there's more important things in life, particularly with the way the economy is at the moment, that, let's not forget, it's just a hobby. It's just a bit of fun. And if we're pouring huge amounts of our weekly budget into it and expecting to make gains and help us improve our life in some way, shape or form, we could be sadly disappointed and taking money away from other important things: family, friends, bills, other things to make life enjoyable. So, I guess something you should really ask yourself when you've set money aside to buy something Pokemon related, whether it's cards, singles, sealed product, is, if I'm making this purchase, is it A, going to boost my collection and give me enjoyment that way? Or B, is it going to boost my investment portfolio and give me gains and enjoyment that way? And if the answer is no, you're just spending it because you've set a budget aside and you want to spend it, then that's not the right thing to do. And that's another reason why I don't budget. So I guess to summarize the whole video, I've stopped budgeting. I've taken the emotion away from it. And I think that's the whole reason behind it. I've taken the emotion out of Pokemon budgeting and investing, because the moment you just hyper drill down and hyper focus on it, you lose the enjoyment out of it. Chill out. Enjoy it. Buy what you think. Look, there's whole other videos and I've got them on it, but buy what you think at the right time will go up and get you gains and you think will look sweet in your collection. And you know what? Everything will be just fine with it. Over time, it'll go up. Thanks everyone for watching. I'm Michael. This is PokeOz. Catch everyone next time.